I wobbled my camera. Sorry. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. It might be my first video depending on where I put this video. I kind of just want to talk about the Halloween trilogy because the final one just came out and I have thoughts. Basically, this idea comes from an hour rambling that I had with my father and my best friend about this trilogy on how I would fix it. Because the ending just didn't feel right. I personally, this is going to be a ramble. These are Reed rambles. Also, hi, my name's Reed. Like I said, I don't know where this video is going to go, so I don't know how to introduce myself. This video, I'm gonna just kind of like ramble about how I think I would have made this new Halloween trilogy a little bit better. Personally, I would have swapped the plots of 2 and 3 because to me, it always makes sense to do your biggest hurrah on your final film. So the fact that they brought back all of those like fan favorites in the second one and then killed them off, going Evil Dies Tonight, knowing they had another movie wasn't the best decision that they could have made. So what I would have done is I would have put, spoiler alert, I should be putting spoiler alert if you, but also why would you watch this video if you haven't, do not gaslight people. I'm not gaslighting. But spoiler alert if you haven't seen any of the 3 movies, specifically even the last one. Leave, go watch, come back, let me rant. I would have made the secondary killer situation in the second one because what I would have done is Corey, if like I said, if you watch the third one, ends up being kind of like Michael Myers' homie, and ends up like killing for him, tries to become the new Michael Myers, fails. But what I would have done with that is you put it in the second one so that he starts killing people like as Michael Myers. And then at the end of the second one, we're like, we've killed him. They didn't kill Michael Myers. They killed Corey. So then that sets up the third one where I would bring back the fan favorites in the third one, not the second one. And I would have probably, sadly, killed off the nurse, and then Jamie would have called the other people, right? Jamie would have called the other fan favorites saying, he's back, I don't understand how, but he's going after our own. And then it would have been the wild goose chase, because that ending scene in 3, Halloween Ends, just felt so hollow with the fact that they're like, we have this big procession of all of these community members taking Michael to his resting place, his final resting place in the grinder. But like, you didn't have anybody that we knew and could like feel with, except the one lady that, again, spoiler alert, the one black lady who saw her husband get stabbed on the counter, she ends up surviving. That was like the only person that like got to reap what Michael Myers sowed, you know? So it felt like mildly hollow. Like, yes, there was Jamie, yes, there was her granddaughter, but like, so I would have like tried to keep the familiarity and bring those fan favorites into the third one for that final procession. But here's my twist, and this I think is just me being like a severe like horror like slasher film fanatic. You just want one last big bang, right? Here's what I would have done is, because here's the origin of why I came to this thought. I was telling my dad about what I would have done to make these 3 movies just flow better. And I said that I would swap the plots of 2 and 3, which is what we're going on about now. And he goes, well, here's the thing. You're bringing back your characters into the last one. And he poses the question, would you still kill Tommy? Storyline-wise, I don't want to, but the slasher film fanatic in me wants to, and this is how. So Tommy makes it to the end of the movie, right? And if you, like I said, if you watch Halloween Ends, Laurie is the one that pushes Michael Myers' body into the grinder. I would have had it be Tommy. Tommy's the one that pushes Michael's body into the grinder. And what I would have done is as soon as Tommy goes to push him, again, that Michael Myers Boogeyman Never Dies thing comes back for one last split second and grabs Tommy. So when Michael's going into the meat grinder, like say his like legs have already been grinded, his top half could still live. Michael fucking lives through everything, right? That he would have grabbed Tommy by the ankles and brought him down with him. Like one last kill. But then there ain't nothing left after Michael's body is fully grinded, you know? So then that would be the end. Side note, here's where I will flash a black screen. Part 2. The other way that I would have done it that wouldn't have been as complicated, but the first version is honestly what I would have done to save the series. This second version appeals to the Halloween fan in me that you just want to keep seeing Halloween being made and made and made and made and made. It has been said, I believe, that no one that worked on this movie is ever going to work on sequels anymore. This would be Jamie's last movie. This would be the granddaughter's last movie. This would be like the Blumhouse people, their last movie, right? What I would have done wouldn't exactly be a place for a sequel, more of like a sister series, basically, is because they kind of left it open-ended with Laurie writing her book stating evil never dies, it just changes shape. What they could have done is because even though Michael, trigger warning and also spoiler, Michael snapped Corey's neck. But if you think about it, Michael passed on his boogeyman-ness a little bit to Corey. What they could have done is even though the neck was snapped, he wasn't dead. He's part boogeyman. And you never see him after they take Michael on his procession, right? What could have happened, and what I would have liked to happen, was that even though they killed Michael, it has since moved on to Corey. So then they could have like sister series. It wouldn't be like Halloween anymore, but because it wouldn't be Michael Myers anymore, but there would still be a new killer that was like the aftermath, right? The aftermath of Michael Myers. And it could be Corey's storyline. So it would still have like the same like slasher film vibes. It would still technically be the same universe, but it would no longer be Michael because Michael is ground beef at the moment. But it like makes a lot of sense to me of like moving it on from Michael to Corey. Because like, why would you say that sentence in the book of like evil never dies, it just changes shape? I obviously know that what she was referencing is that Michael did get a hold of Corey. But the fact of saying evil never dies implies that something's still coming. And the way that they could have saved it was like have like a little hint, like a Marvel credit scene where Corey sits up like Michael again. And I'm like, see, there's some things that I would have changed. Personally, I would go with change 1, which would have changed a lot, but I think would have made the story ride a lot smoother, because I know a lot of people had issues with, what is it, Halloween Kills is the second one. A lot of people had issues. I had issues with the whole mantra of evil dies tonight, evil dies tonight. Bestie, we know it is only movie 2. Evil ain't doing shit tonight, right? There's going to be a third one, so this was like all for nothing is what a lot of the issues with the second one were. And the issues with the third one is that my dad even stated this, that it felt like 2 different movies, right? Corey felt like his own movie, and then Michael felt like his own movie, except Corey got like Corey got 3/4 of Halloween Ends, and Michael got like the end bit. So that was my whole myth with Halloween Ends, is that It's supposed to be a Halloween movie. It's supposed to be the end of Michael Myers, and you show him like the last half, the last third of the movie. But that's why I would have slipped. And the other issue that I had with this whole thing is they're introducing Corey in the last movie. So you don't feel like anything for him. Like, you felt sympathy for him in the beginning. I will give you that. But you felt like nothing for him this entire time because you're like, it's the end of the movie. We're only going to see in this one. Why care what his story is? You know what I mean? So if they had done it in the second one, it would have made more sense because you're like, oh, he could live to the end. Right? Because what you could have done is like, they're like, we killed Michael at the end of the second movie. And like I said, it's secretly Corey. You wait until the third one to unmask the dead body that they killed, and it's Corey. Right? And then Michael starts slashing again. But that's just like, that's what I would have done. It makes the most sense, like logically to me, right? And I know that you don't need logic for horror movies. It's a slasher film, for fuck's sake. But it makes more sense. It makes it for a more satisfying conclusion to me. Because like, the reason why this didn't feel like good at all is because you're like, oh, we're finally gonna kill Michael, and it was like the last 40 minutes. The whole majority was, they led up this whole story of a second killer. Michael can pass it on. Michael can pass on his gift. And then they kill him off. And then also kill off Michael. Bro, I do not know. I didn't care for it. I personally would have done what I would have said. But also, like, I understand they didn't want to leave it open-ended, like, for my second option of changing it. But I feel like that would have been so much better because then they would keep their fan base. They don't have to worry about tarnishing the Michael Myers name anymore because it would be a different killer altogether. But then you're also like, well, Jamie Lee Curtis didn't want to do it anymore, so Corey coming back, he would obviously go after Jamie, right? Yes, that's true, but also, I wish, it doesn't even have to be Corey that they passed it on to. I wish that he had just passed it on to somebody somehow, or you just like saw the spirit leave him, travel miles, and then enter someone else, because what is the whole point of it? It just changes shape. It just changes shape. Like, it felt like a hint to something, but then it wasn't. And you're like, the ending felt hollow. And some things that I would have just changed about the movie in general, if we're not changing plot or anything, is it felt somber almost the entire time. There was like no upbeats, really. Everything just felt somber the entire time. There was just like, it just felt heavy. Corey, as much as I liked his character, I liked what they were trying to go for. Corey's portrayal, like the portrayal of Corey, felt extremely one note to me. Because one thing I just kept telling my dad is, I'm like, I wish, like, they spent so much time on Corey. I wish they just developed him a little bit more mentally. Like, you never really saw the break in him where he went from sweet kid that everybody hates because they don't know the real story to vicious murderer. You never really saw the click. You never really saw the break, except you like saw him like look into the mirror. But that like wasn't enough to me because like there was like a little inkling of him not knowing what was going on when he went to the granddaughter's house. It's like, I don't know what's going on with me. I wish they kind of delved more into that, but he just seemed so the entire time that you're like, is he gonna murder people? And then he did. So you're like, I don't know. But long story short, the takeaway from this entire thing, I didn't care for Halloween Ends. I kind of cared for Halloween Kills. I loved Halloween 2018. But to save this series, I honestly would have like swapped the plot of Kills and Ends. But Kills could have just been the ending if it wanted to be. It wasn't that good, but it was better than Ends, you know? It was more satisfying. But then Halloween Ends comes out and you're just like, what's happening? You know, like, Halloween Kills could have been the ending. They didn't need to do a trilogy, but then they tried to throw this new story in and then ends up chopping the story before it even like could do anything. You're like, they introduced this whole new killer and then killed him off. Then I understand that it's like, oh, he was too eager, we killed him off. And I'm like, you want to talk about eager? Michael has been trying for like 40 years to kill Laurie Strode. Talk about daddy. We're like mommy issues anyway. But not to leave things on a somber note. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If there's any other like series that you want me to talk about, I can. But I wanted to just like, there isn't going to be like an upload schedule here for this kind of stuff. It's more of, I've been heated about the storyline since I watched the movie first time 2 days ago. Because I watched it Saturday. And then also Sunday. But I've just been heated. I have been absolutely heated about this series. And not heated, like, I'm not mad at it. I'm just like, I know how it could have been better, you know? So. But if you like this kind of content, maybe subscribe. I don't know. This is just, I'm going to be rambling about a bunch of random shit. It's not always going to be horror movies. It's not going to always be movies. It could be about video games, yada, yada, yada. You know? But subscribe, like, comment, do whatever you want. Don't be mean, or I will not hesitate to delete your comments because I am petty. Anyway, goodbye.